Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Craftoria. And quickly before we hop into this, because this is future Shut Door after the episode has actually went and been recorded and all of that jazz. I just want to say thank you guys for all of the love and support on these videos because I have been having a blast with modern industrialization. Genuinely, I have been having fun. I know next time we play with modern industrialization, there's a lot of different things that I want to do before that, like initial phase of getting into automation. Because I've looked at a lot of videos, right? I've looked at a lot of other people's playthroughs and how they do it, and honestly, I don't think there's really 100% correct way to do something like this. I've seen people integrate AE2 where they click a button or have a requester that then says, "Hey, I need 200 of this item," and then they've got an entire room dedicated to just purely that item. And it's like, it's a really cool idea, right? There's so many ways you can do this, and I think that's the fun part with modern industrialization so far, is all of the different methods and different ways you can do numbers of these different things, right? So let's get into this. I will stop delaying and we will get right into the action. Thank you guys. I have expanded the current hydroponic beds that we place down. I have the thing's still kind of cruising. This is the max one that we started with here, and I'm gonna just let these run for quite a while. And sooner or later, when I remember, I will probably put down the simulated. I probably could go ahead and put down the simulated. This thing almost has 300,000. I kind of want to see how high this can go. And I mean, honestly, the sugarcane production's quite high already. If we were to do the simulated, I do believe that this would be better, in all honesty. But I'm going to let this run. All of these guys are running. Currently, we're waiting on some of the add-ons to get completed. There's one more set, which is the one that just kind of started and ended. But yeah, so couple things real quick. The distillation tower creation and all of this stuff, right? And I want to talk about this because there's a couple things that are important, which is kind of the end results, right? We've kind of talked about them on the signs and everything, and you can see there's polyvinyl chloride right here. We've got dithiol ether. We've got the styrene butadiene rubber. We've got nylon. Then we've also got nitrogen and argon, which we did not discuss these because this is actually made with liquid air. And liquid air, we go back upstairs here. If I can get on this thing here, is actually made with a vacuum freezer and an air intake. Now, I want to, in this episode, actually get a pressurizer. The pressurizer uses less energy overall, but it has the same amount of time. The thing is, of course, using less energy means you could do more upgrades. At least in theory, that's what I'm thinking. Because this does 32 EU per tick, while this one does 8. And doing upgrades is a significant energy usage, right? 256. So I'm going to craft what we need here, which is, let's see, one pressurizer, 10 solid titanium machine casings, and 9 titanium pipe machine casings. So let me get those pieces. I actually already have them on AutoCraft, and we should hopefully be getting everything we need to get this completed. Let's work on getting the pressurizer set down here. So I don't know how this multi-block is supposed to function or look, so let's just place down the main and we can see how this is supposed to look. So we need to move this up one. I'm going to assume I need to put this on top of this. Okay, that was correct. So the base is these ones, the titanium machine casings. And then the pipe machine casings go here. And then go here. And then also go here. And then we just do this. So I would assume that we need... Okay, so this can only go on the bottom. Okay, so that's actually interesting and different compared to most machines, because you can usually place them at least on the top or bottom. This one is very specific. So input, and then item input, item fluid output. Okay, so fluid output has to be on the bottom. and then item input can be on the top. So we're just going to toss this guy here. And of course, this is going to be the air intake. And we just want to make sure that the cable is connecting. We're just going to like mute that sound real quick. Okay. And then we're going to do this. We're going to wrench this to make sure it's this side. Auto eject. And then a fluid cable. We'll probably grab another one just so we can quickly output fluid. And then ender tank, which is the one that we're using for liquid air. And that is the pressurizer. Right? Okay. So we can actually go and grab some upgrades. We'll just say 32 and see how this works. And hopefully that will be faster. So what I've done off camera is I've worked on getting a handful of different pieces. So of course upgrades is one of them. So we always have at least 1,000 on stock. And same thing with normal upgrades. Same thing with large pumps, which are these things. And we've also got all of the kind of basic machine casings. We've got steel. This one is the basic machine hull. We've got the machine casing advanced. Then we also have the advanced machine hull. Then we've got the turbo machine casing. And then we also have the turbo machine hull. So all of these are 512 besides the steel because I just missed it. I didn't actually do it in time. But these are a copper upgrade with an iron downgrade to make it 512. And that is beautiful. So I'm going to let that run. I also added a silicone dust electric blast furnace independently. So that way we're not running out of that for the batteries as well. Because that was something we actually had a problem with. You can see our batteries are kind of all over the place because of all the different stuff I've been adding. But yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know. And the pressurizer, I'm going to let this thing go and see if it tanks power or whatnot, but hopefully we'll be able to get a decent production of argon and all of that stuff. All right, bit of progress update again. We have industrial TNT. This stuff is not hard to get once you've got the tuluene, which comes from the distillation tower. You can see that kind of light blue liquid there. That is what we're looking at. You can see here it is. This and sand, flint, and nitrogen, which is, of course, coming from our liquid air breakdown system here. And so, yeah, we have plenty of nitrogen. We've got, of course, sand and flint being made with the material stoneworks factory and enrichment chamber. And, yeah, so this is indefinite, right? We have everything we could ever need besides one add-on here. Apologies, my voice started messing up a little bit there. But, yeah, so we've got everything we could ever need to make copious amounts of industrial TNT. Now, this is used actually quite a bit in other recipes. And this is like, you must use this. There's no other recipe. And one of these things is actually beryllium. Beryllium is a little bit of an interesting thing because I didn't actually know how to get this because this is kind of buried somewhere inside of it. Yeah, on the dust. So if you look at the beryllium dust and you're trying to figure this out, because I looked around for a minute without realizing the electrolyzer tab was here. This is actually the recipe, which is just emerald dust broken down. And I don't think there's really any overly effective way. It's just get an emerald, crush it down, and you're good. Emerald plates. What would we use these for? Okay, so I will actually need to make those. Okay. But yeah, so there is some stuff that I'm going to look at, which is getting the beryllium. I don't really think there's anything that interesting in beryllium production. We just need to get emeralds, crush them down. But this is the reason you want to get beryllium, is because you need the nuclear mixed plates. And this is cadmium and blast-proof alloy. Blast-proof alloy is mixed blast-proof alloy, which is tungsten, titanium, and stainless steel. And that will then allow for you to compress it, make a blast-proof alloy plate. And then these are used for some of the nuclear stuff and also the nuclear mixed plates. So then the mixed plates then get put in an implosion compressor and then become the nuclear alloy plates, which then allows us to start looking at nuclear stuff, which is beautiful. So there's a lot of small stuff that we're going to have to kind of get going. I may be bouncing around a lot. I noticed that because there is just so much with modern industrialization, so many small components that we are trying to get. and a lot of these small components really aren't that interesting, right? We have seen how the pressurizer works, of course, now, which this was a new machine, hence why I wanted to show it off. We've never used this before. This is, of course, a new tier, and I think that really does open up some things for us. And I do think that this thing tells us a couple tidbits of information. The pressurizer allows you to pressurize water into high pressure or high pressure water and steam into high pressure steam. It also works the other way around to depressurize the fluids. And then, of course, it allows for you to do liquid air, which is what the quest is pointing at. So we're kind of at this point right here where we need to get the raw iridium, which actually we already have iridium because of the whole system, the whole mining system that we have already. So we don't actually need to worry about raw iridium because it's right here, right? I don't actually know what the quest needs to complete, but there's raw iridium. Like, take a stack? Or does this need something else to complete? No, we just did it. It says 100%, it's just not completing. Okay. Cool, we'll take it. But yeah, we have raw iridium. This is actually being broken down into iridium dust, which the iridium dust, I do believe we can just smelt it. There's nothing we really need to do here. We just smelt it and we got raw iridium. And then I believe actually the dust is what we want because this is the superconductive stuff, I think, is the next tier. Right? Yep, superconductive. Superconductor wire. Where's the actual ingot here? Here it is. So there's iridium dust, annealed copper dust, yttrium, and neodymium, which of course we have these bottom two. The annealed we don't have because we're actually continuously just producing that into ingots. But if we need to crush them, that's fine. And then of course the iridium dust gives us 9 superconductive dust. So we are making progress, right? That's the biggest thing. Progress is slow, but we are making it. And it's taking a lot longer than I'm hoping. I was hoping to get more episodes out this week, but of course, it's constant. Just, hey, here's this one minor thing that you're going to have to wait a little bit for because you have to produce, X, Y, and Z. And I still haven't made the better diesel either, which is a problem, I do believe. But I also know, like, polyethylene production, of course, is stalling. And I have been kind of just letting the world run a little bit to get backlog of the sugarcane. And hopefully I can get enough sugarcane. I'm only at 500,000. Goodness gracious. I may have to get these guys switched back to get these guys switched over to the hydroponic simulated stuff. Most of these guys are not ready for that. So it's like these three are, because I'm okay with taking these guys. Let's just quickly do that, and then we'll wrap this episode up. So let's just knock these guys out. And then I've got, like, an overlap of demagnetization coil, by the way, so that's why that didn't, like, fly to me. And we want the simulated. Well, let's get the first one down here. Put that there, and then put sugarcane. And then put add-ons. And then let's make sure that we put this back, because it did break when we did that. Okay. And then we can also add another soul surge. So that way this is even faster. And that should actually start giving us a lot of sugarcane. And I do believe this is 2 times, right? Yeah, 2 times 2.2, 2.15. And that is beautiful. So this should not give us an efficiency bonus, right? This should just... It's just executions and not efficiency. I'm pretty sure. But I'm not 100% sure because this is like a newer thing. Let's see. Simulated. Let's see about grabbing another one. Simulated. There we are. Okay, put this guy down. Put this in here, put this in here. And then add-ons. And then we make sure to go back over here and put on pipe upgrade. Get this stuff put away. Okay. So that is gonna hopefully just get us like a lot of sugarcane. And you guys, let's just see. Yeah, look at how much we're getting. And that's only with 2 of these guys. We still have a couple more. But I'm going to get the rest of these guys put down here in a little bit. I'm going to wait for this guy to get the max, right? I want to get the at least 2x on potential drops rather than just 1. And it looks like this guy's not getting water. It looks like there's some issue with the Entangleporter over here. I'm not sure why that is. This is not the first time this has happened, where it just kind of disconnects. So it's kind of been idle again. But yeah, I actually came over here and it wasn't connected. So I reconnected it, and apparently it just disconnected itself again. So maybe there's like a log out or something that every time it'll break it if it's not chunk loaded properly or something. Not 100% sure, but yeah, let's just get that soul surge down. So that should increase the speed at which we're getting some sugarcane. I don't know if this is going to be enough to do, like, put back that system that I made previously for the sugar solution and all that. But I know whenever I did that, I ran out basically immediately of all of the sugarcane. And I had like 700,000 sugarcane available. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this. And I saw a video talking about these, because I didn't know these were actually a thing. I've actually never used the hydroponic beds because I never thought they were that good. And I was mistaken. Highly mistaken. And I can see that because, of course, we're using them now. And it is beautiful to see all of the shenanigans that are able to be done. Also, I think I have been using the sugarcane simulated things, and I may have accidentally broke one. Like, I may not have one now because I think this thing took it out of my inventory. I'm gonna have to put down another hydroponic bed and just let it run again, aren't I? Dang it. I forget that's always a thing. I don't know why, but it's just like part of me hopes that mods are gonna like account for that, but you know, I should know better. But we'll just get this place back down and we'll get this guy, you know, repopulating and everything. Let's get the add-ons put back on. Water's flowing, ether gas is flowing. The only thing that's not is items out of its inventory. Let's get that reset. Okay. Make sure all of these guys are set to max. And then, of course, none of these other guys require water, these simulated ones, which is fantastic. So that is also something we'll get rid of when we have the ability to. I have put back our sugar solution, and I just now realized we have 12 million sugarcane. This system is definitely not going to overpower our amount of sugarcane because I've tried. I haven't actually added more machines or anything, but I've added upgrades. And you can see these guys are actually just plowing through sugarcane, barely getting enough to actually continue. Like, they're getting it right at the very last second of the stack that they're currently on. And so, yeah, this is running, right? We have a pretty decent solution. You can see we've got 2 full Supreme tanks of sugar solution. So these guys are processing it as fast as they can without going too overly powered. Because, of course, I couldn't put more than 48 upgrades in here without the power just tanking. And I didn't feel like just keeping and adding more and more. This goes 1,000 sugar solution to 10 ethanol, I do believe. Let's actually just quickly look here. Yes, so 1,000 to 10. And then, of course, you need that to then go into here with the sulfur dust, and that then gives you only 500 ethylene, so 1,000 to 500. And then, of course, here we're doing the chromium tiny dust rather than the lead, because this results in more per iteration. But we do have a backlog of polyethylene, about 1 million, and I do believe upstairs as well. Where's this actually at? Nope, downstairs. We do actually have a backlog as well, so we have 1.8 million and then 400,000. So that is beautiful. And, of course, a full tank. So we're cruising. We are cruising. All right. Another little tidbit of stuff we have done off camera is actually we have redone the entire crude oil processing. which actually looks like we are kind of at the very end of our production on this side. We're kind of cruising through this one. But yeah, this thing, 2 distillation towers was actually decent enough. I think if I took out the upgrades, these 2 crude oil producers, the oil rigs, would actually be better. But I have actually not done that. I kind of wanted to keep pushing this as much as possible. This tank I'm going to get rid of because this was just kind of a backlog of hydrogen, I do believe. Is it hydrogen? Yes, hydrogen. But yeah, we are producing. We've got plenty of diesel, which is right here. We've got steam crack naphtha. Everything has been running for quite a while. And this one is, this was the first version. And then I was like, you know what, I could do this better. And then I still haven't done this one better. But this actually is still decent with the amount of crude oil and everything it has. Because, of course, it's only one running, I think, at full upgrades. So I'm not too worried about getting that fixed. But I may actually look at getting a handful more upgrades placed in here. Let's see. Can we do 16 and 16? And we'll see if that actually holds. The biggest thing, of course, is just making sure power is enough and everything of that sort. But yeah, so we've kind of just been processing stuff, right? That's kind of the biggest thing, and letting things kind of just build over time. It looks like we're actually doing pretty decent on some of these ingots. I haven't looked at them in a hot minute, so we're at full power. Everything looks like it's good. It doesn't look like it's really producing as much as we still need, but that's okay. These guys are... they're good. Okay. And then I think we could do the exact same thing over here if we wanted to, but I think I might try and mess with these a little bit more off camera to add more upgrades. But the other thing, so we actually have beryllium dust. This is, of course, put in a functional storage drawer to actually allow for us to get tiny dust, because tiny dust is actually what we need and not the other stuff. Let's see, beryllium. So this is actually used in an implosion compressor with a stainless steel nugget and industrial TNT to get us the beryllium ingot. And that then can be used... where in the world is it? Yeah, we can just look at this. But this is actually what we need to do, make beryllium plates. Am I just missing it? Packer, unpacker. There it is. Why did it... I'm so confused. Hold on. Macerator, packer, unpacker. It's not showing, actually. Which is kind of interesting. I'm not crazy, right? Like, I'm not... oh, it's right there. Yes, I am crazy. Okay. But yeah, we need to get an implosion compressor. Implosion compressors are kind of going to be something that we need for quite a lot of different things, right? We're going to need it for beryllium. We're going to need it for the blast-proof alloy. We are going to need it for tungsten, nuclear alloy plates, iridium plates, which that looks like it is a whole other thing. Blast-proof alloy. We're going to have to make like a ton of blast-proof alloy. But yeah, the implosion compressor. Let's look at the multi-block. All right, so implosion compressor. Look at the multi-block. So we're going to need to get blast-proof casings. Blast-proof alloy. Blast-proof alloy ingot. Is there an inefficient way to make this? Because yes, okay, so the inefficient way is through the electric compressor. So you take the electric compressor 2 per 1, and the implosion is your upgrade. Okay, so we need to basically make bare minimum, and then get one of these, get this for the mixed alloys, and let it be used there independently, and forget about beryllium for now. Okay, so I'm gonna unbookmark some of this stuff here. So implosion compressor, blast-proof casing, and the solid titanium machine casing. So let me get this stuff, and we will be right back. I'm gonna also, of course, make the mixed alloy off camera, because you guys have kind of seen what we need to do. We need to pack it, then we need to compress it, and then we need to kind of go that way. Oh, and actually, this is a 1 to 3 when this is a 2 to 1, so that is also a very good thing. I didn't realize. Yeah, let me get probably like a stack. So there's 8, and you need, how many did I say? 8, 16. Okay. I think we're going to need a little bit more than a stack in this case, just because I think we're going to need a couple other things as well. So we're going to need about 3 stacks. I'm going to say 3 stacks seems like a good amount. So I will get that, and I will be right back. Let's build the Implosion Compressor here. So I've got an HV energy input hatch here. These things aren't that hard to make. They're a turbo machine hull and aluminum cables. Of course, I've got all of that. So I just went ahead and made that. And we've got the Implosion Compressor main portion of the block. And then we built this kind of like an EBF, it looks like. Gonna get that placed down. And then, of course, blast-proof casings in the center. And let's quickly just grab this. Okay, and that should be completed. So now we want to do input and output. So I think for... what do we want to do? I think that'll be fine. Oop, not that. Get rid of this. So output, input, and then what do we want to run first? So I think the first thing that I want to look at getting is probably tungsten. Because tungsten's kind of a pain to get unless you have... Well, actually... How much tungsten do we have? Got 3 stacks. And if we did it this way, through the implosion, every 0.5 seconds... Okay, I think we're going to do it that way. So let's grab a controller. Storage access controller. So this guy right here, access point. And I'm just going to put this here. And then connect... I don't know where this is actually currently connected to. Okay, it's connected to our main system. So we're going to do this. And then over here... we will do a item pipe. And we probably want to make sure that we have this and this bookmarked. If I can click the right thing, there we go. And then, of course, the tiny dust. And that should be golden. Okay, so that should be good. So what I want to do is I've actually got a drawer somewhere around here. Right here. Yeah, this whole shenanigans because I was tired of waiting on tungsten. So I actually have this here. But I'm actually going to go back up, I think, another layer to our house. Where is the tungsten dust? This tungsten dust? Okay. I'm going to swap this to a simple compacting drawer. So that way we just have tiny dust and non. Make it easier. Of course, this will cut down how much we can actually have. But I'll just throw a void upgrade on it. Because if we have, several million tungsten dust, I don't really think we'll need to worry about it too much. Alright, I have got this thing up and going. It is currently making tungsten at a very fast rate, which is fantastic. We're going to grab a functional storage drawer here. And we're going to set this to output the front. And of course we need to put an ingot in here just to get this rolling. Actually, I hate when it does that. So we need to take out the ingots. Put in the nuggets. Actually, I guess in this case, let's just make a full compacting drawer. Make this easier. Nope, that made it even more complicated. Hold on. And I forget how this works half the time. Because with all the different compacting stuff that's been added. Okay. And then we will get some functional storage drawer upgrades. And I think we should be golden. So that is tungsten. There's tons of materials that we need to get through this, such as the beryllium, right? We need to get this processed. How do I actually process this? I think, yeah, it's broken down into the tiny dust, just like how it is currently with the tungsten, and we just set up another thing for beryllium. And actually, I also forget that I probably want to not have all of these upgrades in here, because I don't want that many ingots. I'm thinking iron downgrade. What would this get us? $18,000? So that's equivalent to like a copper upgrade. Actually, no, I don't think it is. I think it's equivalent to a gold in this case. No? Maybe it is a copper then. I really don't think it's a copper, but... No, it's actually not even close to copper. But that is 4,000? Okay, we'll keep copper in there. 36,000. But that is still a lot of ingots that I don't really need. Okay, we'll link this. We'll lock that. But that should give us plenty of tungsten in our system. And of course, more as we go. So I'm going to build a handful of these off camera, of course, because this is going to take a minute. But we have an actual production of tungsten, so that way we'll actually be able to get the process of smashing them all together. The 3-tier process, yeah, the mixed blast proof. And then, of course, mixed blast proof also can be used in the implosion compressor to actually allow for us to get this quicker. So I think this is kind of a two-prong approach where we have to kind of do 2 more of these and maybe more to actually get like the iridium plates and nuclear alloy plates and things of that sort. So there's a handful of things that we need to do. But I'm going to do a lot of this off camera just because you guys have seen it. I don't want to keep boring you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.